Module 1, Lesson 109 and 110 for 6th grade language arts. Okay, make sure that you have your PACE chart pulled up and your lessons. Yes, PACE chart, lesson, and notes. So give me a, let's see, thumbs up when you have your PACE chart, lesson, and notes pulled up. So thumbs up when you have your PACE chart, lessons, and notes pulled up. Awesome. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and get right started because it's 11 o'clock. Thank you guys for joining. There are 2 lessons this week. 1.09, what is the central idea? There's a quiz that goes through with that. And 1.10, summarize it, assignment. We're going to focus today on 1.10, but I want you to make sure that you are paying attention and reading through 1.09, and we'll focus on 110. Actually, that's a good question. You still do have to do the lesson. This is a brief overview. This is to help you out when you're doing the lesson, but you still need to make sure that you are doing the lesson. So for all the lessons, just to review, you want to read through the lesson and take your notes. You want to turn those objectives into questions. Go to the grade book and take the quiz, complete the assignment, and then repeat if necessary. Okay, if you already did 1.09, that's fine. We're just going over that briefly. 1.10 is where we're going to focus today. Okay. So remember for 1.09, you want to read through, take your notes, go to gradebook, take the quiz, complete the assignment, and then if you need to, you can review that. Okay. So 1.09, what is the big idea? After completing this lesson, you will be able to determine a central idea of a text and how it is conveyed through details, and understand how sentence and paragraph structure contributes to the development of the ideas. So what you want to make sure of for 1.09 is that when you're taking those notes, you're turning those into guiding questions. So how do I determine a central idea of a text and how is it conveyed through details? And then, do I understand how sentence and paragraph structure contribute to the development of the ideas? So it's really important that you go through 1.09 and you take your notes on 1.09, and then you take the quiz on it. So for 1.09, you want to, of course, go through and read the lesson. You want to finish the activities in the lesson, go through all the videos, all the assignments. And then you want to go to assignment 109 and complete the quiz on central ideas and submit it. So that's 1.09. Again, it's really important that you go through and do 1.09 on your own. Right now, we're just kind of doing a quick review of it. Okay, guys, I need you to make sure that you're staying focused in the chat. If not, I'll remove you from it, okay? So we are here to learn, and it's distracting if when you're chatting, you're not focused on what we're doing. If you have a question about what I'm going over, that's awesome. Just make sure that we really stay focused, okay? Rennie, no, it's not. Okay, so we're staying focused. So let's talk about 1.10. So everyone pull up 1.10 right now. I want you looking at your lesson for 1.10, which is summarize it. And for summarize it, your guided questions are the objectives: determine the central idea of an informational text. Understand how the central idea is conveyed through particular details. And produce a summary of the text, making sure it is free from personal opinion or judgments. So when you go to do 1.10 on your own, you are going to take these objectives and turn those into questions. Okay, thumbs up if you've been doing that, if you've been doing your notes and taking your objectives and turning it into questions. Awesome. Hey, Luke, you need to try to do that. That's how you're going to be successful. Awesome. Okay, so let's look at what a summary is. And this is where you really want to take more notes. And I'm going to turn off the chat right now so everybody stays focused. And what I would suggest you do is take a look at the lesson, but also this is what should be in your notes, a summary. So how many times have you been asked, what was the article about? Or what did you learn from the article online? Actually, you are being asked for a summary. So a summary is when you take a long article or text and you summarize it in a smaller paragraph, hitting the key points or the main idea. So what the lesson for 1.10 is it's about summaries, and at the end you're going to have to write your own summary. So one of the key things that you are going to do for summaries is paraphrasing. So these are words that you should really be familiar with. So in your notes for 1.10, you want to make sure that you also, besides paraphrasing, you have summary. So you look at what paraphrasing is. So paraphrasing is a big word that means something really simple. When you paraphrase, you will write your own words to explain what another author writes. You read a text carefully until you understand it enough to explain the author's idea in your own words. So this is a really, really important part of summaries and paraphrasing. You're taking the author's ideas and you're putting those in your own words. So in a summary, you're not quoting, you're not using the same words that the author used. You want to make sure that when you're turning in 1.10, you're paraphrasing. And what paraphrasing is you're taking the author's ideas and you're putting those in your own words. Okay, so really important that you understand a summary is where you take a long piece of text or fiction and you turn it into a shorter summary with the main ideas. And one of the ways you can do that is by paraphrasing. So let's see. Who can tell me what paraphrasing is? I'll turn on your chat. What does it mean to paraphrase? How would you explain to a friend what it means to paraphrasing? Putting an author's idea in your own words, explaining something in your own words about what the author writes. Good, Bryce, good paraphrasing. Use your own words when summarizing. Rennie, just make sure that you understand that paraphrasing can be used beyond summaries, so it's not just with summarizing. Good, though, good participation. Okay, so in your notes, good, Kennedy, to write something in your own words. So make sure in your notes that you have summarizing and paraphrasing. Now, of course, you're going to go through and take your own detailed notes on 1.10, but I want you to make sure that you have paraphrasing in there. Awesome. Good job, guys. Okay, so this is some tips and tricks on how to write a really good summary. The first step is you want to read the entire nonfiction text. Number 2, separate the text into sections. And we're going to go over that in a minute. In your first sentence, mention the author, the title of the text, and the central idea of the entire text. So that first sentence, that introductory sentence, needs to have the author, the title of the text, and the central idea of the entire text. So if you're writing about Albert Einstein, you want to make sure that you mention the author, the title, and that the central idea of the text is the life of Albert Einstein, for example. And then you're going to write one sentence in your own words recapping the central idea for each section. And then you want to arrange your sentences into a paragraph. So some important things that I want to point out here is that the first thing you want to do is, of course, read the entire nonfiction text, you might want to read it twice. And then you want to separate the text into sections, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. You want to make sure in your first sentence you have the author, the title, and the central idea. And then write one sentence in your own words. There's that paraphrase, recapping the central idea for each section. And then you want to arrange your sentence into a paragraph. Please don't turn in for 1.10 just a list of the main ideas. You don't want to say in paragraph 1 it's stated, or in paragraph 2 it's said. What you want to do is you want to make sure that your sentences flow together into a paragraph. Should be easy to read, summary. Okay. Rennie, you're going to do some, perhaps a little brainstorming first, but you definitely want to read the text twice. Okay. This is right from your notes, right from the lesson. This should be in your notes somewhere. So this is really important. You may see it again. Remember, we have DBAs coming up next week. Okay, so make sure that you have this in your notes, the steps to writing a good summary. And here it is in more of a picture form. So the first thing, read the entire nonfiction text. Separate the text into sections. In your first sentence, mention the author, the title of the text, and the central idea of the entire text. Write each sentence in your own words, recapping the central idea for each section. And arrange your sentences into a paragraph. Okay, so if you follow these 5 steps, you'll do really well on your summary. Luke, you're not really telling the story in your own words. You're taking the long text or fiction story and you're paraphrasing it in your own words into a summary. Okay, smiley faces if you are good. Remember, you can say at the end if you have more questions. We're not done yet. I'm just checking that you understand where we're at for summaries. There's 5 steps. So make sure in your notes you have 5 steps for the summary. And you might not be able to take the notes right now, but jot down that you need the 5-step summary, 5 steps for the summary when you go back and reread the lesson. Okay, so now I want everyone to go to the last page for 1.10, the last page of the lesson, and let's look at the directions together for 1.10. So you should see on your screen what I see when you go to lessons. So what is my assignment for 1.10? Number 1, I want to read the lesson. Okay, I've read the lesson, let's pretend. I've done all the activities in the lesson. Now I want to read the instructions. Well, we've gone over for the last month that anytime you see this, read the instructions, it's a different color and it's underlined. So I know I need to click on that because when I click on that, that's going to pull up the instructions for me. So everyone click on where it says instructions in your lessons. And you should bring up a page that looks like this. Give me a thumbs up if on your lessons you're at the same page at 1.10 for the instructions. Good job, Bryce. Good job, Kennedy. Alyssa, Desert Molly, awesome. If you are stuck and you can't get there, please let us know and we can help you. Brooklyn, At the end, try to restart, okay? Sorry, Brooklyn. You might want to clear your cache on your Chromebook. Okay, so let's look at these instructions. You will write a summary of the article, Kelvin Doe, a Young Engineer. View the grading rubric before submitting. this is your grade to a super submission. So when you go back to do this, I want you to click on your grading rubric. You'll see what you need to get a really good grade on it. And then it says, number 1, read the article, Kelvin Doe, a Young Engineer. So I see that that's in a different color. That means that I need to click on it. So I'm going to click on where it says Kelvin Doe, a Young Engineer. All right, Killian, you need to stay focused on this or you're going to be removed from the session. Okay, so Kelvin Doe, a Young Engineer. Everyone click on that. And your paper should look like this. It should pull up a new window where it says 1.10, Kelvin Doe, a Young Engineer. Give me a smiley face if you can get there. Good job, Kennedy. Rennie, Luke, good. Molly, Natalie, Bryce, awesome. Grayson, good job. Killian, Alyssa, awesome. Jaden, good job. Okay, so this is your summary. So this is what you're going to read to summarize. And you can see that the author's right there, by Sally Gonzalez, Professor, International University of Science. Do you see how it's already divided by subtitles? So they've made this so easy for us, you guys. Look at this. These are my different sections. Okay, so that first paragraph, everything underneath this bold, that's section number 1. Okay, section number 2, everything under Kelvin gets his start. Section number 3, the beginning of change. Okay, so when I go to do my summary, we've talked about the different steps. The first thing that you do is you read the article, and then you divide it into sections. So after you read this, I want you to divide this into sections. Your first section is this first paragraph. The one that I'm circling right here in blue. That is your first paragraph. So what you're going to do is you are going to come up with a 1-sentence summary of this first paragraph. Because after we break it into sections, we do a 1-sentence summary. So I would do a 1-sentence summary of this first paragraph. What do a DJ, batteries, and a teenage boy have in common? Kelvin Doe has all of these components in his life. From a small village in the Republic of Sierra Leone, West Africa, this teen changed the lives of the people in his community by his innovative approach to life. Excuse me, guys, I'm sorry. Okay, so I've read the text. I've broken it up into sections. Now I need to come up with a 1-sentence paraphrase for each section. Can anybody do an example and come up with a 1-sentence paraphrase for that first paragraph that I circled in blue? Let's pretend we've already done that topic sentence about Kelvin Doe, a Young Engineer by Sally Gonzalez. So how would you paraphrase that first sentence? Or that first section, section number 1 that I circled in blue? Oh, good job, Kennedy. Kelvin Doe is an inventor that has changed many lives. That works. Luke, you'll have to look at it because this is the assignment. It also say that Kelvin Doe, a young man from West Africa, changed the lives of people. Or Kelvin Doe. Awesome. Good job, Josiah. Good job, Brooklyn. Good job, Bryce. Kelvin Doe from a small village near West Africa. He made a change to his community by making a new way to approach living. And all of these were good. These are awesome, you guys. You paraphrased it, you put it in your own words, and that's exactly what you have to do. So good job, guys. So easy peasy. That was the first section, section number 1. Good job, Grayson. Yep, Alyssa, that works. Okay. So now you're going to go back after you read the lesson and do the same thing. You just have a couple more paragraphs to do. Okay. So for each of the sections, you're going to go through and number it, but for everything under the bold, so it's about 1 paragraph, what you're going to do is paraphrase the main idea of that. And then you put it all together and make it work in a 1-paragraph summary. Smiley face if you think you got that, frowny face if you're not quite sure. And remember, you can stay at the end if you need additional help. Awesome. Hey, Rennie, you need to stay focused, please. So let's look back at the instructions now. So let's pretend that we've read the article. Alyssa, stay on task, you guys. So we've read the article. And I'm going to turn off the chat because people are not paying attention and staying focused. Remember, we talked about in the beginning, 1 smiley face will do. And we don't want to distract other people that are here and listening and paying attention. So let's pretend that we've read the article. And now I'm figuring out what I have to do. So in order to do well, I want to follow the directions. So I'm looking at number 2. I want to write a summary of the article in a separate document. Of course, you're going to use a Google document. In your sentence, mention the author, the title of the text, and the central idea of the entire text. Write 1 sentence in your own words, recapping the central idea for each paragraph. We went through and we numbered those paragraphs. Conclude your summary with a restating of the central idea. So you want to make sure that in your conclusion, you restate the main idea. And it's super important that you keep personal opinions out of the summary. Kelvin Doe, awesome guy. But saying that he's awesome is an opinion. So I want to keep that out of my summary. And I want to make sure that I'm sticking to the article and summarizing that. And then, of course, you're going to save your work to your computer or drive and submit your work. All right, easy peasy. Please don't rush. Please take your time, though, as you go through this. So remember to read through the lessons and take your notes. Go to the gradebook and take the quiz or complete the assignment, and then repeat if necessary. All right, 1.10 is the last thing in Module 1. So you want to kind of show off what you've learned so far and really take your time and do your best on that. 109 and 110 are due on Friday at 4. Live lesson, DBA, next Monday, not 9/17. I put the wrong date there. Oh my goodness. So next Monday, 9/24. Okay, so that's 9/24 in a week at 11 a.m. Join and participate for DBA credit or schedule a DBA on GenBook for next week. Okay, super important that you know next week is the week for the DBA. You can do the live lesson DBA next Monday at 11. If you join and participate, that will count for your DBA. You have to, of course, fill out the Google form that goes with it. If you do not want to do the live lesson DBA next Monday, or you're not able to participate in that, you need to go on GenBook and schedule a DBA. Now, I'm sure that you've learned that DBAs can get really busy, so please go ahead. If you're not going to join the live lesson DBA, schedule that DBA today for next week. And as always, if you need help, please call or text so I can help you. All right, what questions do we have? I turned back on the chat so you guys can ask questions if you need to. I don't know what you mean by does either DBA count? Okay. Before you go, make sure you fill out this Google form. Okay, so you need to fill out the Google form to get credit for being here. Okay, the live lesson next week, the live lesson DBA next week counts as a DBA. Okay, instead of doing a phone DBA, if you attend and participate and fill out the Google form next week, then that counts for your live lesson DBA.